All right, y'all. I was going to call this a major shakeup, but I'm not even sure if Russell Wilson being benched is really a major upset because honestly, it was kind of expected, especially after the way game three just ended a couple of days ago. And what else can you really say? Personally, I think it's been over, but if it hasn't been over, it's definitely over now for Russ. I think he should retire, and that's strong to say, especially for a fan of the sport. But just based off where his career has gone and seemingly where it could possibly go, which is either he ends the season as QB3, because he's definitely not the backup anymore. He's probably the emergency quarterback. He's going to be running the scout team. They may even take the captain patch from him. But he could be traded or he could be released. And if he gets released, I'm sure he requested it since he's benched again for the second time in 3 years because he didn't get benched last year in Pittsburgh. He just got hurt and didn't start the season. But with all that being said, Russ is cooked. He's not doing the cooking anymore. And I don't know if he ever has really done the cooking. I think he's had some really good games where it seems like he was cooking a lot, and maybe he was in Seattle. But we all know that Seattle team was based off their defense and run game and then everything else in between. So was Russ really that guy there, or is this the Russ that we've always kind of had? And he's had a defense, running backs, and pretty decent receivers, Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett for the main part of it, um, to really bail him out. So with all that being said, like I said, Russell Wilson has been benched for Jaxson Dart. He's the 25th overall pick in this year's draft. He had a solid preseason, as we all know. And I'm honestly surprised after the preseason they didn't start him, but I get it. Russ didn't play. They were saving him for whatever reason. And if Russ, I told somebody, I said, if Russ would have played in the preseason, he probably never would have been the starter. So should he have ever been the starter? Should he have been gifted that opportunity without playing at all in the preseason? So he's probably rusty. He's doesn't have all his timing down yet. So that's kind of his fault. I'm not sure if it was his choice or the coach's fault. It would be his fault that he didn't play in preseason and get some reps in and maybe look better. But that didn't happen. And Jaxson Dart and Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito, who's not there anymore, took all the reps. And here we stand. 3 weeks into the NFL season, and Russell Wilson has been benched, and his career is more than likely over. Sorry to say it, he's now the second highest paid backup quarterback behind Kirk Cousins now. So I do believe that his career is probably over. Unfortunately, I don't want to say that about anybody because this is your passion. But for all intents and purposes and for the sake of this video and from what New York has just shown us, his career is probably over. It's definitely over there, but it's probably over, period. That's honestly unfortunate because nice guy, nice family, all that good stuff like that. But when it comes to football, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure that he still has whatever people thought that he had back in Seattle, because that's obviously when they thought he had it, because he didn't have the magic in Denver and he didn't have the magic in Pittsburgh and he doesn't have the magic now. He has the magic for games, but to consistently sustain brilliance over a season, personally, I don't think he's ever done that. And while I'm speaking on that, I'll get into this whole Russell Wilson Hall of Fame conversation, because probably before this year or maybe last year, it was always, Russell Wilson's a future Hall of Famer. And I think the media does a great job of crowning people as Hall of Famers earlier just for situations like this, when nothing anymore, if it ever has, is showing me that Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer. Like, he has, in 202 NFL starts, he has 121 wins, 80 losses, and a tie. He has 46,913 to be exact, career passing yards, 353 touchdowns against 114 interceptions with a completion percentage of 64.6. So stats are pretty good, but they're not like all time like the Favres, Manning, Rodgers, Brady, Breeze. He's definitely not in that category. And I don't think that, clearly he never will be, because it's probably over. But He has a playoff record of 9-8. Is that really a Hall of Famer? He has the one Super Bowl that, in my opinion, he's been to two, but he won one, but it was because of the defense, the Legion of Boom, and Marshawn Lynch. That's why they won that Super Bowl. They got back again because of that defense and Marshawn Lynch, and he threw an interception to Malcolm Butler, and everybody know they bought. I don't know why Pete Carroll. Who knows? I'm not even going to get into that conspiracy theory of Pete Carroll or whoever trying to make Russ the hero, whatever. Because would he have won the MVP if that throw had been completed? Maybe not. So who cares? And this year he has 778 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks with 59% completion percentage, which is well below his career average, with a 78.5 pass rating, which is a career low. So if that's not telling you that it's over, then I just think it's over. Like, he doesn't even look comfortable throwing short passes. All he does or wants to do is throw the deep ball. It's in the air too long, clearly, and it's getting picked off or tipped or whatever the case may be, but it's not there for his wide receivers anymore. So, in my opinion, he never, and this is from a fan's perspective, but fans do see a lot. He never sustained any elite play, ever. He never had any year-over-year, like, just consistent yardage and touchdowns, maybe, but he has thrown quite a bit of interceptions. He has basically maybe it's not bad because it's basically a 3-to-1 ratio. But with all that being said, do you guys even think he's in the top 30 in quarterbacks? And that may sound harsh, but if you go back and look at all the quarterbacks that have played over time, which I have, do you think Russ is in the top 30 of NFL quarterbacks all time? Stat-wise, and don't even look at the stats completely. Look at, or from what you've seen, the game film, the footage, how he's actually played. Has he ever looked like this uber elite quarterback? Not even with stats, in my opinion, has he looked uber elite. And for me, it just doesn't scream Hall of Fame. When he post Seattle, he's just declined, clearly. Even though his stats are somewhat above average, it's not winning anything. He's not winning anything. He didn't win anything in Pittsburgh last year. Justin Fields won 4 of those games. So he was 4-2 when they took him out. He hasn't won anything with the Giants. He didn't do anything with Denver. And towards the end of Seattle, he was losing. So most Hall of Fame quarterbacks, consistently win. They don't have this many down years as a team, much less statistically. But I just think it's probably done, over, complete, however you want to put it. I think it's over for him. But going back to the Jaxson daughter for one second, personally, I don't know if this was the right move because they keep saying we don't know if he's ready yet, or I know the fans are screaming for him, and honestly, this is probably just Brian Daboll and the GM last ditch effort for their job. If they wait halfway through the season to put Dart in, then in my opinion, you probably should have waited that long through this rough part of the schedule that they're about to have. Maybe they should have at least gave Jameis Winston a try. I think that would have been helpful. I don't know about the fans, but I think the team would have been okay with that. But nonetheless, Jameis is probably the QB2. I don't know if it's been announced or not, but Jaxson Dart is your QB1. He's going to be the starter probably going forward, unless he gets hurt. And even then, it's going to be Jameis Winston. So as far as the New York Giants go, it's over for Russ. And as far as Russ' career go, we'll see how that pans out over the next, basically over the rest of the season and I guess maybe off season, but I just don't see where he goes from here. Maybe guys that have been starters that long, is he finished as a starter? Probably. But do you guys think that he could be a solid backup? I think he's almost 37 years old. So, it's like, would anybody even sign him would he even want to be a backup first? And if he did, maybe somebody would probably sign him, but I doubt it. I just truly think this is probably the end. I'm not sure what year he's in, but I know he's nearly 37 years old. So with all that being said, unfortunately, it's just probably the end for us. And for Jaxson Dart, good luck on his career. And I wish him the best of this rough part of their schedule. The only really easy and maybe winnable game they have is against the New Orleans Saints. So I think it could get really, really rough in New York. But before we go, let's talk about Jaxson Dart one more time, and let's just describe, or what do you guys think down in the comments? You guys let me know. What do you guys think success looks like for him? Is it, winning immediately? Is it, just not stinking up the field, which I'm pretty sure that's probably what people want. Playoffs and all that stuff like that, having a winning season is probably out the door at this point. I mean, it's early, so I guess they could still, rattle off some wins, but, theoretically. But I just think a successful Jaxson Dart, in my opinion, as a first round pick, is obviously not stinking up the field, but just looking like somebody that belongs, being decisive, having control of the offense. So we'll see what that looks like in the coming weeks. And, I feel bad for Russ, but I just truly feel like it's over. And, you know, do you guys think this move will save the Giants season, or is their season basically done anyways? I think this move will give the players a little bit of energy to, try to not make Jaxson Dart look bad and whatnot. But I really think they were trying to make Russ look bad. He was just throwing bad throws. They don't really have a running game. I hear everybody talking about Scatterbo, and I'm not personally sold on him. He kind of reminds me of Peyton Hillis, who honestly didn't pan out in the NFL. But maybe he's better. I know he could catch the ball out of the backfield and do some different things. So maybe he's better, but we'll see. But, outside of Malik Neighbors, I'm just not really sure what the Giants have on offense. And they actually look like they have a pretty good defense, but the offense is just terrible. But maybe it's a quarterback. And I guess now that problem, well, for the first time this season, is over. They're switching quarterbacks, going to Jaxson Dart. Russell is more than likely QB3. And, guys, I think that is it. I don't know. I don't want to bash the guy too much. I didn't really want to bash him anyways. I just wanted to give you guys my opinions and give you some stats and facts to kind of back up my opinions. But this was not a Russell Wilson bash session. It wasn't supposed to be. I apologize if it was. But, hey, these are just my opinions. But like we said, Russell Wilson is now benched. Jaxson Dart is now the starter in New York. And this is the end of this episode. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you already haven't. I really appreciate it. It helps me grow. It helps me keep doing this. This is what I want to keep doing for you guys. I'm sorry I haven't been around in a while, but I am here to stay. I will keep coming back, and you guys let me know what you think about this whole Russell Wilson thing, and I will see you next time. Bye.